I'm sort of a chemist a little bit, biologist, person, student, basically. I'm fairly smart. I know a thing or two about science, particles, atoms, energy, quantum physics, stuff like that. But what I want to talk about right now is something that a lot of people in the world don't know. Or maybe you don't know, you might know. But what I really want to get at is that you know and probably heard of a thing called essential oils. Well, essential oils have an issue. And you know what that issue is? They're not very aromatic in the way of perfuming. And I've been thinking about this probably for about a year. And I studied chemistry a lot, and I know my way around a lab. And I have never worked for a lab, but I do my own chemistry at home. And I have a lot of books and stuff that I study. I've read and watched tons of videos, and I've been studying science my whole life. I'm 40 years old. One thing that you want to do, and this is an easy thing to do, it costs money. It's not exactly easy, and you may need somebody's help. And it's very quality chemistry, and it's a safe process. It is very much a safe process, and it could be very beneficial to a lot of people, especially those who like fragrances. But what you do is you need to learn about a thing called chromatography. Chromatography is basically like this big cylinder with silica or another type of aggregate that basically creates dimensional holes and pathways that is potentially chemically reactive or not, that allows size inclusion or exclusion and different properties of how things flow through an aggregate medium. So basically, we use chromatography to separate mixtures. And it's how we make all of our dyes, our inks, our perfumes, our true perfumes. And that's what I want to talk about, is that essential oil is not a true perfume. You can use it. It is fairly strong. It's radiant, but it's not what you really want. And to some degree, inside the oil of essential oils is a thing called an aromatic, which is the real perfume. And what you want to do with that real perfume is separate it from the oil, and then concentrate it with chromatography and use it to create the most powerful sense of human life. I mean, it doesn't get any more powerful for a smell. It's absolute. Okay, it's the most pure form of fragrance that you can possibly get. What you need to do is get a chromatography cylinder, get your filtration ingredients, and what you need for this oil is what we call an emulsifier. Okay, an emulsifier will cause water and liquid to allow the essential oil to separate and blend evenly in a waterous mixture, a hydrous mixture. you basically take that hydrous mixture and you run it through a chromatography cylinder with your filtration equipment, and you catch the product at the end of the apparatus, and you valve it off based on the rate of flow that you measure for the substance that flows through, or the mixture that flows through. Different particles are going to flow through your silica medium or any medium that you use for chromatography at a different rate. As it flows through the chromatography, the perfume will come out at a specific time. You will have to constantly push this liquid through, probably, or have a lot of it, based on however big your scale of chemistry is. And then the product is going to be to separate the oil from the aromatics and collect the aromatics, the water, and the oil, or any other constituent. And at the end, you will have your products, and it will be glorified, and you will understand what a real aromatic is compared to an essential oil. A real aromatic is not highly common in the world anywhere. People don't use aromatics as much. There are people that produce aromatics, real aromatics, but a lot of people are talking about these essential oils. And honestly, essential oil is not nearly as quality as a pure aromatic. So really you want to use your chromatography and get rid of that oil. That oil is waste product and binds to the aromatics so that it's a lot less ineffective. So you filter that out with an emulsifier and chromatography, and you get a higher quality of smell, and that's what you want. But I was thinking possibly about getting into making these fragrances, but I'm not sure about it. I have to decide. But that's how you go about it. It's more of a safe process. And if you want to take it all the way back to what you call a hydrous solution called hydrosol. Hydrosol is when you extract oil from a plant that has a fragrance. Okay, you extract the natural oils by boiling it in a pot, basically, and you collect the liquid from the source into a separatory funnel, and basically you put it in a separatory funnel. You filter the oil from the water after you boil it after you boil your products in water, and then you have essential oil. Basically, that essential oil will have a fragrance, and then you take it and you run it through chromatography and use an emulsifier to separate the oils, and you add water or any other ingredient that separates the aromatic. There may be different things you use. You might use an alcohol or something, anything to separate. It would have to be a high percentage alcohol content, and then again, that might not be effective for separating the oil from the aromatic. But you know, there's other ingredients in oil as well. You have more than one ingredient, and you need to know the rate. You have to create an experiment for your rate reaction, which is how the chromatography actually works, which would be a smaller scale experiment or several experiments. And then basically, once you find the the time frame and the rate, then you can increase the scale and do it probably more so larger scale. So that's really what the world wants to have, is this really potent aromatics. That's really what you're looking for. Not so much essential oil. And they charge extreme prices for essential oil. And how could you ever afford making an aromatic out of the costs of essential oil? That's one reason it's not worth it. If you do go into doing this, you will most likely have to become a farmer. Otherwise, you have to get a really good deal on essential oil, or whatever it is that you want to produce, your products. You need your resources. If your resources are expensive, you can bet that people are going to opt out. You never want to create a market that's too expensive unless it's absolutely dire. So, other than that, good luck. Peace.